Welcome to Global World Watch. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. On an ordinary Tuesday, the nation was jolted awake by a seismic announcement. Volkswagen, the German automotive icon, was pulling out of the US market. The press release from Wolfsburg was blunt. VW would immediately begin a phased withdrawal of all passenger vehicle sales and manufacturing in America. The reasons? Vague references to strategic realignment and insurmountable economic and regulatory pressures. Wall Street reacted instantly. VW's American depositary receipts plummeted before trading was halted. The news dominated every screen, every push alert, every conversation. Volkswagen wasn't just a car company, it was the Beetle, the bus, the Jetta, and the massive Chattanooga, Tennessee factory. For a brand so deeply woven into American life to simply walk away felt like a chapter of history being ripped out. The global CEO's statement was somber, expressing regret but offering little comfort. He thanked American employees and customers, but the message was clear. America was no longer viable for VW. The shock quickly gave way to questions. What about the thousands of factory workers? The hundreds of dealerships? The millions of VW owners now facing an uncertain future? This wasn't just a business headline, it was a direct hit to the American economy and identity. The German car maker that once symbolized counterculture freedom was leaving a void that felt vast and unsettling. The story was just beginning, and the fallout was already looking catastrophic. The nation braced for impact. The American public's reaction was swift. Anger, confusion, and a sense of betrayal flooded social media. VW abandons USA trended as people shared memories of their first Beetle or family road trips in an Atlas. Volkswagen's exit felt personal, like a corporate divorce. Political leaders pounced. Former President Trump called it a disgrace, blaming current policies and vowing tariffs if he were in office. The White House scrambled, promising to investigate and support affected workers. Lawmakers from both parties issued statements. Democrats blamed corporate greed, Republicans blamed regulation. The blame game was on, turning a business decision into a political firestorm. News anchors and pundits dissected the move, pointing to Dieselgate's lingering wounds and the costly EV transition. Analysts agreed. This was years in the making, not a snap decision. The nation was left to grapple with the consequences. The shockwaves were only beginning to spread. The story dominated headlines, and the questions kept coming. To grasp the magnitude of VW's exit, you have to look back. Volkswagen arrived in 1949 with just 2 Beetles, but soon became a cultural force. The Beetle and microbus were icons of the counterculture, symbols of freedom and rebellion. VW's Think Small campaign turned a quirky German import into an American favorite. Over decades, models like the Rabbit, Golf, and Jetta became staples for families and first-time buyers. The Chattanooga plant, opened in 2011, was a $1 billion commitment, over 5,500 jobs, a symbol of VW's promise to America. The plant was the heart of a community, supporting thousands more jobs through suppliers and logistics. The Passat and Atlas were built specifically for Americans. VW's investment was seen as proof they were here to stay. Now, the empty factory stands as a monument to a broken promise. The sense of betrayal runs deep. Why would VW abandon the world's most lucrative car market? The answer: a perfect storm of pressures. The EV transition is the most expensive shift in auto history. VW committed over $100 billion globally, and the US market's patchwork of regulations made it even costlier. American rules for zero-emission vehicles are fragmented and expensive to navigate. Competition is fierce. Ford, GM, Toyota, Hyundai, and especially Tesla dominate the landscape. Dieselgate's shadow still looms. Billions in fines, a tarnished brand, and sales that never fully recovered. For VW, the cost to compete in a hostile market with a damaged reputation was simply too high. Executives in Wolfsburg decided to cut their losses. The decision was painful, but for them inevitable. The American dream was over. The press release was cold, but the impact was deeply human. Over 5,500 Chattanooga workers lost not just jobs, but careers and security. The plant's closure rippled outward. Suppliers, logistics firms, and small businesses faced existential threats. Thousands more layoffs followed as the ecosystem collapsed. Nearly 650 VW dealerships, many family-owned, faced ruin with no new cars to sell. Service departments would struggle as parts dwindled and VWs aged. Chattanooga's economy, once revitalized by VW, faced a massive hole. Lost tax revenue, falling home values, and a community in crisis. The plant had been a cornerstone. Now it was a symbol of uncertainty. The devastation was not just economic, but personal. The fallout would haunt the region for years. The promise of German engineering and American labor was shattered. The community was left to pick up the pieces. In the auto industry, one company's disaster is another's opportunity. Ford and GM would move fast, targeting VW owners with ads touting American roots and rival models. Japanese and Korean brands, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, would offer aggressive incentives to lure disillusioned VW customers. The electric vehicle market would see the biggest shift. Tesla, already dominant, would benefit most from VW's exit. Other EV makers, from Ford's Mustang Mach-E to Hyundai's Ioniq 5, would scramble to fill the void. Competitors would launch targeted campaigns, special financing, and dealership incentives. The message: we're here for you, we're committed to America. The fight for VW's 4% market share would be fierce. In the short term, the exit would trigger a feeding frenzy. The battle for VW's customers had begun. Volkswagen's exit instantly became political. The administration scrambled to manage the crisis, promising aid for displaced workers and seeking answers from Germany. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers demanded hearings and federal support for affected communities. The blame game was fierce. Republicans blamed regulation and taxes. Democrats pointed to corporate greed and globalization. Both sides used the crisis to score political points and shape the narrative for the next election. The debate was loud, divisive, and central to the national conversation. The fallout would echo through Washington for months. The story was far from over. As politicians argued, the public took to social media in a tidal wave of emotion. VW owners formed support groups, shared memes, and vented frustration with VW bug out. Some swore off all VW Group brands, others posted nostalgic tributes to classic Beetles and buses. Car enthusiasts debated which models would become collector's items. Some saw the exit as inevitable, others as a betrayal. The digital conversation was messy, personal, and raw. VW's departure forced a national reckoning. How competitive is America in the new automotive era? The empty Chattanooga factory became a symbol of lost industrial pride. The story of VW's exit was a cautionary tale, a warning about the relentless pace of change and the uncertainty facing American industry. The road ahead would be anything but certain.